Hello YouTube friends, I'm going to make some muffins. I'm going for lunch today with my daughter and her partner, and I'm taking some muffins. Usually I would take produce from the garden because there is plenty, but I just went out to pick them some courgettes, and that is the sum total of the courgette crop. So I thought they're slowing off now. It's the middle of September and we're coming towards the end of the courgette season. As soon as there's a frost or a really cold night, the courgettes will die right back. You guys in other countries sometimes you know them as zucchinis, but I've known these as courgettes all my life, so that's what I'm going to call them. So I'm going to make, I've got a recipe here, courgette chocolate chip muffins. Now, I've got most of the right ingredients. I've collected everything together here, but the very last ingredient is dark chocolate chips. I haven't got dark chocolate chips, but I've got a slab of white chocolate. So I'm going to make these white chocolate chip muffins, and that will be fine. So yeah, I'm going to see Martha and Adam today, and we'll get on with this cooking, and I'll tell you how they're doing. Okay, first thing to do, turn the oven on to, preheat the oven to 180. Okay, so that's about there. I'll just get a bowl and we'll make a start. Okay, so I'm just going to go down the list then and weigh everything out. I'll get myself all prepared. I've got my coffee here. It's quite early in the morning. I'm not setting off just yet, but I want these out of the oven and a bit cool before I set off. So it's very autumnal out there, really lovely autumnal day. Now I've got these new scales because I took the other scales to my pottery studio because they were getting a bit messed up. So we don't want that, do we? Now, how much flour? We want 200 grams of plain flour. Now I'll tell you the weird thing about this is I'm making these now to take to my daughter, who is a baker. We have an expression in Newcastle that's called taking coals to Newcastle, because years ago, 200 years ago, Newcastle was very famous for being the port where all the shipping, the coals that were mined locally were all shipped out to various places, and so the last thing Newcastle needed was coal. The last thing Martha needs is baked goods. However, I am her mother. I baked for her all her childhood, so I'm going to bake this time as well. So that now, let me double check that it's wet ingredients in one bowl, dry in another, mix them all together, because I'm fairly sure it will be. Yeah, combine the flour, sugar, bicarb, cinnamon in a large bowl. Okay, so 150 grams of caster sugar. Caster sugar doesn't cause us a problem, does it? 0. Okay, 150 grams of caster sugar. It's just finer than granulated. Do you call it cake sugar in America and other places? 150 grams of caster sugar. Well, I've called it caster sugar all my life as well, so that's what we're going to call it. And I guess this is where we have a bit of a discussion about cups again, because I'm using grams because they are so incredibly accurate. I think with cup measurements, I could have put that sugar in a cup and it could have been, you know, like up to the top or a quarter of an inch below the bottom, or it could have been packed in tight or not. 150 grams of caster sugar, I'm completely and utterly correct. So I'm a bit of a grams fan. 1 teaspoon, having said that, we're on to teaspoons now. 1 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda. In she goes. 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Cinnamon. I'm not a big fan of cinnamon, so I'm just going to put a very level teaspoon in. I don't dislike it, but I don't like it when it dominates the taste. Pinch of salt. Just grind that up a bit. Okay, so that's all the dry ingredients. Combine the flour, sugar, bicarb, cinnamon and salt in a large bowl. Okay, so the next bowl we need, zero that one, is 1 egg, thank you hen, it's a nice egg, 120 ml of vegetable oil, okay, go slowly, 120 ml, it's quite a lot it turns out. It's easier to do it slowly so I don't have to take it out when it's too much. 120 ml of vegetable oil, 60 ml of milk, of milk, same again, be very careful not to overdo it. 60 ml of milk, oh nearly there, 59, that'll do, of milk. Let's get a fork for that. Lemon juice and vanilla extract. Put the vanilla extract in. How much of that do you want? Teaspoon of vanilla extract. I've usually got lemons, but I keep this in the fridge for recipes like this one when we need 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. So we'll get that in there. It's going to make the milk go weird, isn't it? Just like a pretend lemon juice. It's lemon juice, but it's not out of a lemon, it's out of a plastic thing, which I don't really like, but it's good for cooking. Okay, and right, now, before I stir that into there, which is what they want me to do next, I'm going to grate the courgettes. Okay, so we're going to zero that, and we'll take the little funky end off there. And the courgettes we need is 125 grams, which is, if I take the end of generously off there, that is 128, so I've got those two I don't need. Okay, never mind. So we just need the grater now. So I've got all the dry ingredients, all the wet ingredients, and the courgette now. And the courgette, you probably won't even taste it, but it really will make it lovely, lovely and moist. A really nice moist muffin. Okay, so that's that grated there now. Now, chocolate. I'm supposed to do so many chocolate chips. 85 grams. And that's 74 grams. That's 90 grams, that'll do. Okay, new board. Get rid of that. Different board out. Okay, I'm going to chop up the chocolate now. It'll be alright being white chocolate. It's not ideal, but I didn't have any dark chocolate, which is unusual for me. I've usually got a bit of chocolate kicking around the place. It says chocolate chips, but I think chocolate chunks will be fine. It's nice to get a big chunk of chocolate, isn't it? Okay, I'm just going to run down the ingredients just to make sure that I haven't missed anything out. First thing I look at, I've missed out. It wants 60 grams of walnuts, also chopped. Okay, chop those. Move you guys up there. And we'll do the same with the walnuts. We'll just roughly clank through them so that you get a bit of walnut as well. Okay, so that was worth running through the ingredients, wasn't it? Let's do that again. I was doing it from the bottom, so I missed the walnuts. Walnuts, chocolate, courgette, vanilla, lemon, milk, oil, egg, salt, cinnamon, bicarb, sugar, flour. Boom. Okay then, so we just need to combine all of these together. But because once they're combined, they should go straight in the oven, I'll put the muffin cases in the muffin tin. So it says it makes 12, and this is a 12-hole muffin tin, so let's just imagine it's right. It's nice to have a nice big muffin though, isn't it? There we go. Good. Pop that there. So this is all my dry ingredients. Flour, salt, bicarb, cinnamon and sugar. And what the recipe says now is to combine that into there, the wet stuff. And so in here then is the egg, milk, oil, lemon juice and vanilla. I'll pop all of that in there. Give it a good old scrape. Don't miss any of that. Oh, the vanilla smells nice. And now I'm just going to combine this. Now I'm not whisking this up with my food mixer, you know, my handheld food mixer thing, because in fact it barely needs combining this. You just really need to bring it together like that. In fact, it's better if it's a bit lumpy too. So now we're going to put the courgettes in and fold those through. And do you know something? Not all that folding going on too much. I'm going to put the chocolate and the nuts in as well. So I'm just going to fold all this lot together. And really we just want the muffin mixture to combine together. We hardly need to mix this. You'd be surprised at how well this all comes together. That's enough mixing. As soon as you can't see any more dry flour, that's it, you're done. There's a bit of dry down the bottom there, which is why this spatula is a good thing to do it with. Okay then, so get rid of all the things we've finished using. And now I'm just going to angle you down a bit, and I'm going to fill these muffin cases up with this chunky mixture. Like this. I'll just make sure that they're filled about 3/4 full. There's some massive chunks of chocolate in here. It says 20 minutes in the oven, so that's what we'll do. Don't worry about being a bit messy. Who's in charge here? You are. Be messy if you like. Tidiness is vastly overrated, in my opinion. So the oven's come up to temperature nicely, so I'll put those in the oven. So they'll be in the oven for about 20 minutes now. and I'll just have a big clear up of all this mess I've created. Martha's got 2 big projects on at the moment. First project is she's growing my grandchild, which is very exciting. Not very much longer to go now, which is why I'm going to see them. Spend a bit of time with them before the baby arrives, which is nice. Getting everything ready and prepared. I've been doing some sewing and knitting for them, and we want to talk about some more projects that we might do before the baby comes. But the second big project Martha's working on, she's a baker, and she and her partner, business partner, Neil, have Pink Lane Bakery in Newcastle. I might have mentioned it before. Well, Pink Lane Bakery are expanding premises. They're going to keep the little shop they've got in Newcastle, but they're taking on other premises in a little nearby place called Gosforth, which is about 3 miles away from the centre of town. And they've taken over, they're renting the old fire station in Gosforth, and they've converted it into a bakery. Well, they're part way through doing that, which is what I say. She's got 2 big projects on at the minute. You know, one's growing a human being and the other one is developing a new bakery. And, you know, the timing's not great, I have to say. The timing is not great. But there's a lot of work needed to get the ovens and all the equipment and to get the contractors in to do all the work that needs to be done. If you imagine an old fire station, then the big doors that opens to let the fire engines out, they've just got to be a shop front now. So they're having a whole new front put on with ordinary sized doors. And so they've raised some of the money themselves, but they're doing a big fundraiser, which is, if I have the skill, I will tag it onto the end of this little video so that you can see that the video that they've put together to tell people about the fundraiser that they're doing to raise the additional money they need to make the bakery. It's a very nice little video. It turns out there's more than one video maker in the family. I really, really like it. Anyway, all the reward tiers, all the perks they're called, are all bread or bread courses or birthday cakes or wedding cakes or all sorts of things. And so if you live in and around Newcastle, please have a look, because there'll be something you'll like there. I mean, the simplest one is a loaf of bread and an invitation to their launch party, which is the simplest thing, right up through to some fantastic bread courses and the wedding cake. If anybody's ever needing a wedding cake, they're amazing things. But there's one perk that's not food, and that would ship internationally. And Martha, if you look at the little video at the end, all the graphics, all the lettering and so on, Martha has done all of that with her. She was, first of all, apart from being awesome and my daughter and a great baker, she's a really great artist as well, and she does lino cuts and lino prints, and so she made all the graphics for the bakery. And one of the perks that's on offer there is one of her, she's done a limited number of prints of one of the bakery prints that she made when the bakery first launched. So that's not food, although I had a lovely comment. I put this on Instagram, and I have a friend who lives in Scarborough, and she and I are good mates. We go way, 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 way back, and to when she was, 18, and I was quite a bit older. We did our training together. Anyway, she sent me a message saying, all of these perks are I can't take advantage of any of these perks because they're all food. So I don't live nearby, and so I said, well, one of them isn't. One of them's a print, that you could look at that. And then she said, but can I eat it? And so I said, well, yeah, if you want to. So if you ever come up north, Teresa, then I'm going to treat you to some Pink Lane Bakery stuff. So there's an invitation. Anyway, one non-edible perk. But the other thing is that, people can just give, a donation towards the cost of what they're doing. So how long have we got on these here? 15 minutes we've got. Great. Okay, so I will, there's another 15 minutes or so left on the buns. I'll show you them when they come out of the oven. I would quite like to ice them with a bit of white chocolate over the top. If there's time to do that before I go, then I'll do that. But if there isn't, I won't. See you at the end of this little baking process.